tour the Naval Academy, which previous classes had not done. So we went down, and everybody, the whole student body, went down and toured the academy and went to the Navy Duke football game. And then in the spring, those people who had appointments with the Naval Academy went down for 3 days. And this made a big difference, a very big difference. And so it turned out that 56% of your class went to military academies. 2 went to West Point, and the rest went to Naval Academy, a total of 56%, and that was the highest percentage of any class since 1958. Wow. And so at graduation, we had 3 admirals participate in your graduation. And let me tell you, at graduation in particular, and to some extent at homecoming, I had numerous parents come to me to thank us what the prep schools had done for their son. And the general comment was, you all have done in 9 months what we tried to do in 18 years. And that was all good. Now let me go over some of the improvements that we implemented and changes that we implemented for the class of '68, because it was just too late to do it for your class. First of all, we increased the entry requirement for 25%, by 25%. We established a physical training department at the academy, here. And then, in the academic area, we decided to have 3 departments: English, math, and science, which was different from what it was organized in your class. And so, then, a month after you graduated, there was a contract for $670,000 given to improve the facilities, the physical plant here, with $130,000 for new furniture. And so that got underway, and we did that then, as the next class got underway. We hired a civilian math. We had the billets for 6 civilian professors, but we hadn't been able to hire him. But we hired someone then to head up the math department. We implemented the new academic curriculum, which was very, very popular, to teach everybody according to their need and ability. And I thought that was probably the most important improvement that we made, for the whole thing here, because it was all aimed at helping you succeed. And that was the whole big thing. We finally hired 5 more civilian instructors. We got the reconditioning of the field house that we used, and we had 731 applicants, and 274 were selected for the next class. Wow. Up from 198. We implemented a new system for selecting student leaders. Now, prior to that time, we had kind of gone by enlisted ranks. But that's not the way they do it at Naval Academy. We're preparing you to succeed at the Naval Academy. So we had the enlisted men take off their rank, their rating, and put on a midshipman candidate. So they were all identified as midshipman candidates. And so we implemented that system, and then the leaders were selected based on ability as determined by the instructors and the military officers in order to prepare them to go to the Naval Academy. Then we started using aiglettes, different colors, to indicate the student leadership rating. Again, trying to prepare them for going on to the Naval Academy. And we implemented intramural sports in lacrosse, wrestling, and swimming for the winter season. Actually, in lacrosse, what we did, when the football season was over, we mustered the football team and said, okay, you guys, you think you're a football player. But from now on, you're a lacrosse player, as long as you're at this school. And they said, what's that? Well, some of them never heard of lacrosse before. And I said, here's a stick and a ball and the rules. By the end of the winter season here, you're to know all the rules. And you're to be able to run with that ball in that stick and not lose it. And to toss it and catch it. And if you achieve that, then you're ready to become a freshman lacrosse player. And so, as a result, we had a fantastic program in the spring in lacrosse. We won most of our games, and we beat Army 13-1.
All right.
Right.
Now, we implemented a name tag that was identical to the midshipman tag, but the year in which they were to graduate. Now, that was popular with the students. I understand that 2 or 3 years later, after I left, they were told not to do that, but I don't know. I guess it was because they were visiting the Naval Academy. But that may have gone under the way. We implemented a student scholar program patterned after the Naval Academy to wear stars. If they had a B average in everything, conduct and military and the whole thing, then they could wear a star indicating that they were had achieved that here at the prep school. Then we changed the motto of the prep school. Before, it was called Naval Academy Prep School. Not Academy, it was Naval Prep School. And the motto was, prepared for either event. I didn't consider that what we were trying to achieve. So we changed it, patterned again after the Naval Academy, from knowledge, success. And that was more in line with what we were trying to achieve here. And so, one of our students, one of the parents of our class of '68 had, they were so appreciative of what we had done for their son. He asked if he could organize a group to put the NAPS insignia embedded in the floor in Tomb Hall and Memorial Hall. It was about 6 by 6. And at that time it cost about $405, which was pretty expensive. And he paid most of it himself, but he did get somebody else to help out. And that was done. And of course we had, by changing the motto, we changed the insignia and the prep school, and we appreciated that. We also then hired a civilian academic director, and on the 1st of August, 1968, the name of the prep school was changed from Naval Prep School to Naval Academy Prep School. And that was more in line with what we were doing. And then the 1st of August of '68, at the same date, the prep school was made a command, and my title was changed from officer in charge to commanding officer. Now, I'd like to say just a word about John Pritchard. I felt that he was one of the most outstanding officers I'd ever met, and I think you felt the same way. And when he got orders to go to Vietnam, I said, John, I hate to say this to anyone going to war, but we're not going to win this war because of Johnson and McNamara's policies. So your job should be to come back alive and bring your men back alive. That's tough. Because you see, I had just experienced, not long before that, when my buddies from the squadron I left were being shot down with surface-to-air missiles. The Navy pilot had photographed 135 surface-to-air missiles in crates alongside the runway in Haiphong. And we didn't have good defense against surface-to-air missiles. And the Navy sent a flash message to Washington for permission to destroy those missiles sitting there in the crate. And about 2 hours later, the answer came back, permission denied, this comes from the highest source. And things like that were going on, and I knew it. And I had to say that to John. And he said, well, if I go, I have to come back with a Silver Star. And John won the Silver Star. The only thing, we had the sad thing of burying him in Arlington. And that's why I decided to name this field Pritchard Field. And one of the times when I was here as commanding officer, I was invited to address the waves at their graduation. So I went up there and I stepped up to the podium, and the battalion commander came up and presented the battalion. And I looked over at the group, and it was the most beautiful sight I'd ever seen in my life. 600 beautifully dressed women, disciplined women. You couldn't help but admire it. All in all, this was the best tour of my whole Navy career, except flying the A4. And, you know, even though I was reluctant to come here in the first place, when I got here and found such a select group of students, highly motivated, with a high quality staff of instructors here, and back to my feeling of getting a lot of satisfaction for the help of others take another step in their success, I found a lot of pride in this tour of duty. And it was the best tour of my whole naval career. And I might add, you know, you get 3 choices on your wish list. This was the only tour that I had in 24 years that I didn't ask for, which is also an exception. You know, it was the absolute best tour, and I loved it here, and I really loved working with you all. It was indeed a privilege and a pleasure for me, and you were dedicated to your objective, and I was dedicated to help you get there. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, impossible. Arlen,
Alice, you have just shared some knowledge that I certainly wasn't aware of, and I figure it's probably the same for a whole bunch of my classmates. Some of that stuff was just, wow, never knew it. Thank you so much for being our skipper.